Merci Deborah. Alors commençons tout de suite, rentrons dans le vif du sujet, en commençant par le premier de vos romans, qui pose quelque part la quête, qui est la quête d'un livre mystérieusement disparu, qui est le H-Moll 782, dans la librairie bodléienne, et à partir d'un environnement historique existant, vous posez donc ce point.
Yes, as a historian, I have worked extensively in libraries all over the world, and many of my years have been spent in libraries in England, most specifically Oxford's Bodleian Library and the British Library in London. So when I began writing the book, I really wanted to make the world of Diana and Matthew feel as real as possible. So as a result, I never made up anything I didn't have to. And so that's the reason why we have H-Moll 782. And people always say to me, well, how did you come up with it? I came up with H-Moll 782 because it was one of the very few manuscripts I asked to look at when I was doing my doctoral thesis research that I couldn't see because it was lost. So H-Moll 782 is a real Bodleian Library manuscript, and it's really missing. And as I was thinking about, what could my two main characters do, and what would be interesting, I remembered that book that I could never see, that I wanted to see, and I just, was a source of frustration as a historian became an opportunity as a writer of fiction. And again, it was partly a decision that was about making the world of Diana and her research world feel as real as possible.
Et il faut ajouter que la librairie bodléienne qui avait été fondée par H-Moll est l'un des grands hommes de la Renaissance, l'un des grands esprits anglais, donc votre choix là n'est pas innocent non plus.
Yes, Elias H-Moll gave all of his stuff, all of the things that he loved to Oxford University when he died, and they included an enormous collection of books and manuscripts, but also rare coins, objects of art, strange curiosities that are now actually make up the basis for the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford. So in the 19th century, someone got very neat and tidy about it and decided to divide the books from the objects and moved all the books over into the library and split the collection apart, which also is a moment that appears in the books, because that's when H-Moll 782 went missing for the first time.
Et je crois qu'Elias H-Moll était aussi un alchimiste.
Yes, Elias H-Moll got around. So he was a collector, he was a bibliophile, he was someone who was very interested in science, and he was fascinated by alchemy, and one of the largest collectors of alchemical manuscripts in history. So I worked a great deal in those H-Moll manuscripts when I was working on my dissertation.
Et donc, vous avez bâti votre trilogie sur, en fait, c'est une quête alchimique quelque part, n'est-ce pas? Donc on peut peut-être commencer par parler des personnages, si vous le voulez bien, pour poser ça pour les personnes qui n'auraient pas encore lu vos livres. Mais j'insiste encore sur le fait que tout est basé sur l'alchimie et l'astrologie, que vous mêlez à une quête tout à fait moderne qui est celle de l'ADN, n'est-ce pas? Donc parlons peut-être des personnages. Dans le premier roman, ce sont les femmes qui dominent, avec deux femmes. Vous avez évoqué Diana Bishop, la première, et l'autre femme qui domine, me semble-t-il, est Isabeau. Peut-être pourriez-vous nous en parler un peu plus, parce que Diana Bishop, qui est historienne, quelque part évoque peut-être un certain auteur.
Yes, so everyone, I think someone today actually in the signing said to me, so there's a little bit of you and Diana Bishop, and the answer is yes, but there's a little bit of me in all of the characters. So Matthew has my love of wine, Hamish has my love of being very direct with people, Miriam has my love of cowboy boots, so there's a little bit of me in everything. But when I first began the books, I always knew that there would be 3 parts. And the number 3 not only is wonderful because there's then a beginning, a middle, and an end. Chemically speaking, there were 3 principles. There's often 3 parts in alchemical processes. There's all kinds of good resonant reasons to use 3. And so I also knew that I wanted the first part of the book to be about women and mothers and daughters, and the second part to be about fathers and daughters and sons, and for the third part to be about a more complex mingling of these 2. So I knew from the beginning that Diana had grown up without having her own mother by her. She had 2 aunts who raised her, Sarah and Emily, and they were very important to her. But I also felt that Diana could benefit from having a little bit of a strong female role model to help her find her way in the world. Because really, when we begin the story, the character of Diana is really very afraid to kind of shine, to come into her power. And the same cannot be said for Isabeau, Matthew's mother. So it was also, I see a lot of books that are all about how women are witches, they are happy to be witches, they're thrilled to have power, they're eager to have power. I teach for a living. I teach 18 to 21-year-olds, and I see an awful lot of women in my classes who are terrified of their own power and will do anything to hide it from the people in the room. And so I really wanted to also show the ways that, what price women paid for sort of not accepting the power that they had and what could be gained by really exercising it in the case of Isabeau.